Ah!
Ah!
Now universal greeting for Ball Rocket gamers.
That's what
Hey
we'll put.
everybody, how you doing, Tox?
Good, how are you?
Going out of my mind, but beyond that, I'm doing great. So I appreciate you stopping by, man. My last episode, I spent 20 minutes just talking about what I wanted to do in Forestry Town, and now I actually plan to get to it. So I appreciate you stopping by here and helping me out today. We'll keep it fun and exciting.
That's always the plan.
Yeah, it never seems to work out that way. Anyways, so for all my viewers at home and for all of Tox's viewers,
Who haven't been here?
him, if you didn't check out my last episode, I highly encourage it. Shameless prompt, shameless prompt. I basically go through and I explain what we're going to be doing, including the phone ringing in my background. Yay! Anyways, I explain what we're going to be doing in terms of the forestry town. Again, pretty darn important because as of right now, the biggest issue we're having is that for the foresting town, it's going to be basically our mainstay or staple, if you will, for power supply. So instead of having Yankee's house be the place where we get all of our stuff from, hey, talks are being followed. Instead of having Yankee's house be the place that produces all of our wood for charcoal and whatnot, we're actually going to move it out to Forestry Town. And wow, I get all the stuff from it. Oh, this coin. So we're going to get that started on it. So I go through and talk about the design aspect, ow, as well as the functional aspect. So today we're actually starting on getting the layout for all the harvesting. And what we decided to do was basically have different areas throughout the forest that are going to grow different types of trees, and we'll have railcraft trains with chunk loaders head out to those locations. This way, we will not be producing trees unless we actually need the trees. So the chunk loaded trains will go out to these different areas, load just that 3x3 area. The trees can grow, get harvested, loaded onto the train, and then the trains can come back and dump the stuff off. So this is not going to be the most exciting part, so I'm not going to go ahead and record all of it. But again, the idea was we'd have a little hub hut over here with the different branch offs, and we'll go out to the different areas. So we're going to run the tracks out, pick our areas out, and then we'll come back and show you guys what we've done so far and what we're going to do next. All right? We'll be back shortly. Hey everybody, welcome back. So we got some work done here, and to keep ourselves motivated, we got our hats of encouragement, as you can see, helping us keep us moving here. Um, yeah, um, they help.
They help a
Hi,
lot,
John.
Mort.
Hey, we got things done.
Let's chase these diamonds, man.
All right, so here we go. So coming from the tree over here, we have a track coming out. Now we do have multiple directions to go. So what we've done is kind of set the first area here. The first area is going to be all of the vanilla trees, plus the two different types of rubber trees from Mine Factory Reloaded and from Industrial Craft. So we have a track comes down here and it splits off this direction. I'll talk about how it splits off and why later. But it comes down here. I can use my super fast run here. Woohoo! And we're going to come out to this first section here, all the way down. And when we get out to here, it kind of splits off. And this is where we have the magic start to happen here. Now, the design we talked about a little bit was to keep from having to load the entire area to get trees to grow. We'd have the trains come through with a chunk loader minecart, which loads a 3x3 area, and then a couple of extra mine carts to basically drop off and pick up supplies. So if you have like forestry running out here, you'd have them drop off fertilizer and power and water and all that, and then they pick up the wood. So we have these wonderful markers here, and okay, I love this diamond, I really do, but I gotta turn this off. I can't see anything. Hold on, wait.
I'll put my dialect back on.
Oh boy, we are losing it. I tell you, I tell you. Uh, as people are gonna find out my dirty secret. My hat is actually not naturally green. I'm not natural green. Anyways, so we've set up these areas around here. Now, you guys will turn out tracks, and the idea is the trains will come down, and if you look around here, you see these little yellow lamps everywhere. these actually mark a particular chunk. I'll go ahead and hit F9 here, show you chunk boundaries. So the train is going to pull into this chunk here, somewhere in this chunk, just to be exact, and it's going to load the chunks around it. So you get that wonderful 3x3 area. So in that extended area, if you will, marked by those little cobblestone pillars, are basically the different areas. So they say this first light is oak, for example. Next up here is birch, and so on. As trains come down the line here, they're going to take this little loop, and if they happen to qualify, if you will, if they are over here for the purpose of picking up oak or picking up birch or whatever, they'll pull off into those little side panels, and they'll be stopped and basically held there until they are full up of the particular item they need. This will load just that area, and we'll have a bunch of little random farms farming those particular types of trees, be it oak, birch, whatever. And the train will fill up on them and then go ahead and head back. Now, again, if you get kind of a high vantage point here, you'll see we've got one there, and that's kind of repeated. You see there's no one out there, and so on. So basically, we're going to have a bunch of little ones dispersed throughout the forest. And again, we'll either use MFR or forestry's utility for harvesting trees. And then the train will come back through here. And again, it's just going to come right back down the line and then back in and across the bridge to be unloaded. So that's the basic idea. We're going to repeat this process throughout the forest all the way around for whatever amount we need. As we keep adding trees, we'll keep adding more of these type of little loops, if you will. Now, here's the real challenging part, and that is a couple of things. First of all, if we have more than one train that comes out and does harvesting, which we likely will, we have to be a little bit concerned about having two trains on a single line here, because obviously if a train's coming back from pickup and one's heading on out, we're going to have problems. So we need to figure out how to resolve that issue, and also how are the trains going to know where to go. So that is where we start getting into the logistics. So we're going to go ahead and head over to a little sample we have, and we'll be right back. All right, guys. So moving on to the next task here. Since we've got the tracks laid out, we're going to talk a little bit about the logistics here. So we've made a perfect scale replica of our layout here, including the size of the tree, as you can see, perfect scale. Talks. That's not scale.
I didn't put that sapling there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that at least the 7x7 sapling, though?
Probably not. Anyways, so to give you an idea of what's going on here, this little stretch tracker here represents the bridge where the trains come across, and then you've got this little switch out here, as we talked about earlier. We're gonna have one section coming over here for all the vanilla stuff, and then as you saw, we have those little turnouts in different sections. Now, again, this is a scale representation, so we've got three laid out here. It's just kind of an example. But we're going to be using, we're actually be using tickets, little golden tickets here. I'll even give Talks a ticket so you can look at it. Golden ticket.
Just trying to decide something to throw out so I have room to look at it.
All right. Hey,
So what happens when...
So the golden tickets are programmable tickets. Now, if you right click on if you right click on the ticket, you will see you're able to actually type in a destination. Now, here's the really cool thing about the ticketing system with Railcraft is you can pretty much set a bunch of variables for a destination. To give you an example, you can have certain variables involved with if the destination is in this case vanilla and oak. You give it two different destination IDs. You're then going to be able to use that information as a relay point, if you will, for traversing the train. So in this particular case, we would have the trains come down, and the first switch that comes across, that switch is going to be programmed with the destination of vanilla. If it sees vanilla, it's going to switch the train to head this direction. So anything called vanilla goes this way. It doesn't matter if it's vanilla oak, vanilla pine, vanilla spruce, whatever. It's going to go down this track. And then it comes down around here. It comes to this way here. This guy says, I'm oak. Okay, turn off onto here. So that's pretty straightforward. It basically just kind of gives the trains a a predefined name of sorts that these particular little guys can pick up on. So it's pretty straightforward. Now the other part of the logistics we talked about is keeping trains from slamming into each other, since that's kind of bad news. Just so you know, railcraft trains, if they hit anything like another minecart or another train, bad things happen that result in a very large crater that would make a creeper envy. So, uh, so to keep that from happening, for stretches of track where we cannot put twin tracks down, like for example going across a bridge, trying to hide the tracks under the bridge would have to actually alter the look of the bridge. I don't want to do that. So for this little stretch right here, we're actually going to be using what we call signal relays and signal boxes. And basically what they're going to do is they're going to monitor a stretch of track and give you information about it. And Tox is going to talk a little more about that.
We've already got the signal block relay box set down here. That's just on this end of the bridge. And I have in my hand something which is called a block signal. And it's moving things into my hand here. Now you see right now they're both blinking red. That's because they're not paired to anything. But if I take this signal block surveyor, that will shut off in a second here. Right click on here, and
This
then
is
right
our
click on
flashing
here.
yellow, and then it goes green.
It will flash yellow momentarily while it's trying to pair. That was obviously way too fast. It paired pretty quick. So now it's solid green because there's nothing in the track in between here. Little note here: this has to be a straight track. There cannot be any bends in here, unfortunately. Yeah. Now these lights can also be solid yellow and solid red if there's something on the track in between, such as this minecart. This minecart is currently stopped, so they're both red. But if it was moving in one direction or the other, didn't trigger it. But
a little too short and a little too slow for me to get to go off. I'm sure.
yeah,
It
one
does
of
have to have a
these
certain bit of moving.
should be displaying yellow if um and that's the direction that it's moving away from.
So basically, what it boils down to is there's three basic things you have for functional lights or functional aspects. Aspects being the um, different settings for the lights. If there's nothing on the tracks at all, the tracks are considered clear. Then they're solid green like they are now. If there's a minecart moving away from a signal, the signal will be yellow. And then if it's stopped on the tracks or moving towards the signal, it's red. This is kind of a neat trick because then if you look at any one of these lights here, for example, if this light is green, you know it's clear. If it's yellow, you know something's moving away from you. And if it's red, you know something's coming towards you or is dead on the tracks. So it gives you a nice, easy way to figure out what's going on. Now, just so you guys know, I have in my NEI here, I've got all the railcrafts up. Just a little quick tip. If you don't already know, if you have NEI, if you type in the @ symbol and the name of a mod, in this case Railcraft, I put in rail, that'll actually give you a list of all of the items related to that mod. So in this case, I put in @rail. It shows me all the Railcraft stuff. There are additional components to this whole logistics for Railcraft, including things like you have the block signals we just talked about, distance signals, what they call dual head signals, as well as a few other little aspects like signal receivers, controller boxes, etc. I will most likely get into this later because me and Yankee have been doing a lot of work, as you guys saw quite a few episodes back. We talked about doing logistics for our server. But all of these lights have a lot of cool features and functions, and a lot of these kind of act like wireless redstone in a lot of ways. So when we get into that, you'll have a lot of fun showing you how things work here. But the basics are, quite frankly, this is a simple way for us to tell if there's something on the tracks, and then we can have this controller box send a signal saying if there's a train coming out and there's already one on the tracks coming back, hold that train, wait till the track is clear, and then send the train on its way. Pretty straightforward in that regard. So, Anyways, onward and upwards. So the next thing we're going to be doing here is we're going to be diving into getting the ticketing system set up so we can get a train functionally running down the line and looping around and coming back. Now, um, because of the project me and Nikki have worked on, we've been working extensively with these controller boxes and all that, so I'm pretty familiar with them. However, dealing with the ticketing system with his golden tickets and paper tickets, that's a whole nother story. I have not dealt with those before. That's going to be new ground for me. So um, we'll see how it goes.
It's a learning
So
experience.
exactly, it very much is. So at this point, talks, I'll give you kind of a crash course in some of this stuff here. But when it comes to the ticketing, you and me are going to be on the same footing when it comes to figuring out how to make it work. So, all right, guys. So me and Talk's going to do some more pounding on this, and hopefully we'll get that straightened out. And as soon as we do, we'll bring it back in and we'll show you a functional system. Uh,
BRB.
yeah. Yep. Be right back.
Welcome back. So we've worked out a pretty much functional system here. Let's just show it from above. The train's actually just in the back there. Warped will talk about that in a minute, though. But I'll start off with some of these train things here. I got a relay signal block relay box, a signal controller box, and over there is a signal receiver box hiding under the trees. If I just put my goggles on, you can see that this is synced with that receiver box. So this is monitoring this straight stretch of track. Apparently that's a tongue twister. Between here and there. So if I were to put on a minecart in this area here, this receiver would receive that signal, and since it now turned red because there's something in the middle here, it turned off this track here. So that makes it so this train won't try leaving when if there's another train coming through here. And Warp just grabbed the minecart, so now that train can come through.
Basically, it's collision prevention. If the
Collision
train
prevention,
passing,
exactly.
if the train passing by, this one won't pull out into it and cause big bada booms, which is bad.
Yeah, and apparently they're pretty bad. I haven't seen them. I felt it, but I haven't seen train collisions yet.
Bigger than Creeper.
Oh, I don't want to imagine that. The other thing we've done here with the trains, last time or just before the break, we were talking about the routing of the trains here. So this routing switch motor has a routing table in it. I'll pass it over to you, Warped, in a minute. If I open this up, you see we have the destination to be Vanilla Oak. The vanilla piece is if I go over to the train, I don't want it to take off while I'm standing in front of it. It has a golden ticket in it, also marked as Vanilla Oak. So when the train comes up to the switch will match with with the Vanilla Oak in the routing table, and it will then switch the switch to go down this track, because this is the oak section, as we can see up here.
Basically, the concept is if it matches with this in routing table, then it will switch the track. So anything that says like vanilla spruce will pass right by, and this is vanilla oak will be steered onto this line here to pick up oak.
Yeah. And the other switch that we have in the system right now is over just past the bridge there. That's where it branches off between vanilla and others. And that routing table will say just vanilla, and it will actually still match that.
Partial name.
Yeah, the partial name. Have we tested that yet?
We have.
We have, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does in fact work. That way, anything that comes across the rails here, if it says vanilla anything, it'll come over here. So you have anything that says vanilla will come across, come this direction, and then if it says vanilla, Yeah, vanilla oak go this way, vanilla spruce go that way, so on. So that's the basic routing aspect. Now, for the actual harvesting, the whole reason why we got this thing set up, we need to actually have the ability to again harvest oak trees so we can bring them back to the main hub city and get that those trees processed into charcoal and biofuels and so on. So in order to do that, what we've done, we've set up this little spur line here, which is the vanilla oak. So the train's going to come in. These are control tracks, and these control tracks basically will allow any mine cart or entity to move along these tracks automatically. So the train comes in. This right here is locomotive track, which I haven't put a lever next to yet. But when this is active, we're going to set it to basically shut down the train. So the train's going to turn off. That'll save its coal, save its water. And then the control tracks will do the moving. When the train comes in, it's going to pull up. The first thing it's going to do is it's going to unload any fertilizer it's brought over. You see, we've got some fertilizer hanging out here waiting. And unload its energy via these energy unloaders into this little MFSU, basically a giant battery pack. This is what powers this whole system. That's going to power the logistics pipes we're using for this build, as well as for the mining factory reloaded machinery, which I'll show you in a second. Once it's done all of its unloading, it's going to pull forward, and then it's going to get stuck under this item loader here. Once it does that, this train detector is going to trip, and that's going to turn the system on. So basically, our little harvest system will not run until A, there's a train here with a chunk loader, and B, it actually senses the train on top of this. So it'll wait till the train's actually staying here, waiting for this system, and then it'll start filling this up. So right now we're a little ways in as it's going through. Um, from there, basically what it's just going to do is we only got one harvester set up right now, but just for the sake of example, we have our little harvesting up here. So MFR consists of like three major components for this type of harvest system. Underground here, you can't really see it obviously because it's buried, but is the farmer, I think it's called. But it
Planter, I
basically will
think.
planters. Thank you, because it plants things. Hi, and
Like
there you
that.
go. So it plants all these saplings, and then when the saplings grow up, this harvester right here will cut it down and put it into the system, and that's what runs over to the train to be filled. This guy over here is a fertilizer. This guy uses that fertilizer to grow these plants up a little faster. So when we have fertilizer, it'll work everything up. So, long story short, this is the kind of system we're going to be doing. This is the kind of unit we're going to be doing. When trains pull in, it'll start harvesting first. When the train's full, it'll take off. The last little bit of the piece of the puzzle here, just to make it extra fun, is that some of the mine factory reloaded machinery actually produces sludge as a byproduct, as a function. So we are actually piping that sludge back over here to this liquid loader, and you see we've got a minecart on the end here. And basically what we're going to be doing is having it dump all the sludge into there and haul the sludge back to town. It'll have some form of processing out there. Now, just to be clear, we could void pipe this if we wanted to. We don't want to. We actually want to have fun and deal with stuff. It's again, this is a logistics based server. Instead of dumping everything in lava or dumping everything to void pipes, we actually want to have fun with it. So that's basically it. This is the forestry town set up in the sense that this is the first segment. Again, we're going to eventually, over time, as we need them, keep adding these different little turnouts for the different types of trees we want to have on Avid Hall. If we end up going through all of them, it'd be pretty crazy because that'd be 200 trees. Forestry alone, because of all the tree breeding, there are so many different types of trees out there that we can get really, really crazy with this system. But we do have the ability to do it now, so yay! So we're gonna go ahead and call this pretty much a win here. There is a little bit of step we have to do, as you guys saw. I need to set up an unloader for the tank and whatnot. But effectively, the idea is here. Everything's pretty much done functionally. Um, we are going to be running this tracks directly back into forestry and having to unload there and process. But just for the interim, since forestry is not actually a functional city yet, we're doing a little bypass you can see here. So this train actually will run straight back to Hubtown on its own for now. And then again, as we get the thing set up and running, then we'll have it actually divert and be a separate line system that just goes back to forestry to get processed. And then the main line will connect to forestry for pickup and delivery. So that's that. I do want to just real quickly before we let you guys go, I actually want to show you the complexity that can be had with Railcraft. As Talks just showed you, there are the relays here. the controllers and the receivers and the little switching. This is a very, very simple little thing that's kind of half set up, but I want to give you a little bit of a feel of just how crazy it can get. So we'll be right back in 1 second, and we'll show you something fun. All right, guys. So I just want to show you this real quickly. It's kind of fun. This is actually an intersection between the rail line right here heading out towards Forestry, and this is the rail line heading out to Ruark's place. And just to make things easier on ourselves, so to speak, instead of having to set up two separate locations for filling up power and dropping off items and so on, we just figured we'd just merge them together. So in order to do that, as you can see here, we have to run the tracks together. Now, there's a few little quirks to this that are not normal. First of all, uh, the forestry towns, because of the way the loops work and everything, it runs British style, if you will. So the train is actually coming in on the wrong side and then cutting over to the right side, so to speak. Um, that's weird quirk number one. And of course, number two is you can see tracks cross each other. Not a big deal. We have a little intersection track you can see right here, our junction track. The only problem with that is if you have two trains that happen to line up and happen to come together at the same time, bad news. If trains hit like right here, for example, and blew up, most of these things would be gone. It decimates things pretty badly. So the real quirk of this is because of the way it's set up, you have one segment coming in has to check and see if there's a train coming on this little segment right here, which is why there's a box down there and a box up here for it, as well as check if there's a train coming this direction and turning across, as well as if there's still a train in this intersection. So to do all that, I'm going to put my goggles on here. Try not to get sick. You're going to see all of the interconnectivity here. This gets a little crazy. You get the red pepper dust going everywhere. But basically, as you can see over here, we've got all these different signals. So we've got a couple of different monitors going into these relays or receivers, which all feed into these controllers. Just so you know, whenever you have a system set up where you've got multiple receivers tied into one controller, that's basically a controller monitoring multiple sections, and it's always going to take the precedence of whatever the highest priority is. So if you have two that are green and one that's red, controller goes red. Simple concept. So again, also for here, this has to check what's in front of it as well as the turn here and so on. So long story short, this may not be the most efficient way to do things. This is my first intersection I've done, but this is kind of fun you can have with Railcraft. And we also got Tox's routing switch here with the same kind of concept. In this particular case, we have it set up so it has forestry marker in there, so the forestry train will turn, or sorry, colors.
Yeah.
So it's color markers in here where it says, I'm looking for a green and lime green train. If that goes by, it switches the tracks, so forestry heads down that way. So the last little quick thing I'm going to show you, these entire stretch of tracks we have here are all monitored tracks. So they're basically called blocks, which is end to end. You've got these little blocks here that are monitoring a straight stretch of track. I cannot say that. And that's all it is for. Is that way, if there's another train on the tracks in front, it's not going to have two trains pile up on each other. So we're just keeping monitoring things, and then allowing the tracks to make the system to make sure two trains don't travel in the same area and clog up. When you come into the loading unloading area here, I showed this to you guys in the past here, but we've made a lot of changes. Again, because we have two trains now, we have monitoring primarily, for example, right here. If this line right here is a primary line, if this is in use, then this switch will switch, as you can see, like that, and it'll push the next train over to here. So that way we can have both trains here and loading without having to worry about one being backed up. And if we ever have a third line added, then this guy right here, thanks to a NOT gate and a little bit of setup, will actually turn off. So the train will actually stop here and wait till one of these two lines opens up. They come in, NAND gate, sorry. Trains come in, they get unloaded, filled with power, topped off with, in this case, fertilizer, and then head on back around. Locomotives get filled up with the charcoal, just like the old way, and then topped off with water before they head on out. So that's basically it. This is finally getting into what the server was first set up for logistics. Was, again, we don't have teleportations. All this stuff has to move from town to town physically. We can't just portal gun it or teleportation chests or whatever. We can't do that. So that's the fun we have. Anyways, as always, guys, really appreciate taking the time to sit down with us and watch this. We're really hoping that you guys enjoyed this. We are going to be doing a lot of other projects. This is certainly not the last one we're going to be doing. There's a
No.
lot of other technology we want to get up and running here. And we'll talk a little more about that in the next episode. But for now, we're going to go ahead and call this done, call us a win. Talks, you learned something today, right?
Oh yeah.
Talks begin the crash course. Speaking of crash
I've played with
courses,
trains.
in case you guys are being picky choosy about the episodes you watch, we do have a little mini series going on right now called Teaching Talks Tech, and this
Which
is
is also really hard to say.
this is a chance for me to teach talks and teach anybody else who wants to learn a little bit about the fundamentals of tech. I am not an expert. I'm not a master. I'm not a dire wolf or anything like that. But I am somebody who's been playing with this for a while, so it's fun to actually get a chance to teach somebody else how this all works and how it all plays. So that's what little series we're doing. So definitely catch that up. If you haven't watched the episodes, go ahead and roll back to the first one, and it'll start you out getting to know talks a little better and going from there. So enjoy that. As always, as I said, I appreciate it, guys. It's been a blast. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, concerns, quandaries, whatever, as always, comments right down below. Feel free to post them down there, and I'll be happy to follow up with you. And of course, hit the like button for us. The like button, I'm not real fond of it, as you know, but it helps us. It helps get the ranking up there, and that's all well and good. So please smash that for us. And of course, if you do enjoy what we do here, there's going to be a lot more of it. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We're going to try to keep things going here. Talks has been pretty good about keeping me on task here, so I'm actually putting out videos at least once a week, if not more, which is really cool. So I'm enjoying that. Whoa, hello. uh, and of course, if you really want to have a conversation with me and Tox and anybody else in the BRG clan, you're certainly welcome to mosey on over to the BottleRocketGaming.com website. Get yourself signed up on the forums there on the website and hop in and post and say hi and ask questions and whatnot. We certainly do encourage conversations there, and it's a great way for us to communicate back and forth. So we definitely like that. And last but not least, and always very important, this is a whitelist server. However, we certainly do enjoy having fun, interesting people join us on this server. Yes, we do have a couple people like Tox and myself and Rook who are, in fact, YouTubers, but as not a prerequisite to playing on this server. If you're a good natured person, if you do happen to do YouTube videos, great. It's a great way to vet you, but it's not required. If you're interested, hop on over to the Ball Rock Gaming forums and go ahead and apply in the forums and state your interest and a little bit about yourself. We'll find some time to meet up with you and talk and make sure you're a good fit for us and make sure we're a good fit for you. So, again, thank you and have yourself a good one.
Have a good life.
Bye!
Bye.